Morning, Kathy. Here we go.
Greetings. Hello. Good morning. Good morning to you all. We are with the pink glasses today. And we never, ever know what the other person is wearing until we come on here. Who'd have thunk? We both decide we needed a pink day today.
Well, and it was so funny because we both, Cheryl says, I got to put my glasses on. So we both reached down and we both did this at the same time. Funny. Pink.
I love it. Pink is just so happy.
That means we're opening up the heart chakra today.
Hey, that works. So who are we, by the way?
We are fun Shui with Anita and Cheryl.
All in alignment.
Creating sacred spaces.
Ooh, and this is Feng Shui Friday.
It is another Friday.
So this morning, and Miss Anita, I had the intention, let me rephrase that. I received the idea to grab a card for everybody. So no, we always shuffle, right? We always get our topic from Catherine Collins' Feng Shui Personal Paradise card deck. But this morning I had the insight, received it, to grab a card for everybody from The Secret Language of Light.
Ooh,
one of my favorite decks.
And collective card.
A collective card for everybody. And I started laughing because it hit the floor face down. So of course, then you gotta try and pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the things we talk about virtually every single week. Let it go. The number 18 card. So a number 9 today. Right? The 1 + 8. Let it go. I think that's absolutely entertaining. So I'm going to continue to shuffle and we'll get our topic for the day. I've got 1 card so far. How many people do we have on? Who's joining us this morning?
Well, so far, I think we just have Kathy, and let me just refresh and maybe somebody else will pop in.
Perfect.
You never know.
Well, being that it is flower planting season here, the the first card that came out of the deck is the number 16 card, Symbols of Welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So we can certainly talk about that, and we'll see what other card comes out. Interestingly, with the flowers and things, I love making sure our front entrance is amazing, inviting,
and it is always
yes.
Amazing.
And
I can attest to that.
We have 2 trees out front, and both are in flower. Oops, there's our other card. One is a very inconspicuous flower, and it's my favorite tree. It's the Amur cherry tree, and it's got the bronze bark.
Yes.
So it's my favorite tree of all trees. And it's got a very, very tiny, very white, very subtle flower. Now our other tree is an ornamental crabapple tree. And it bears tiny, tiny, little itty bitty fruit. Birds love it. The rabbits love it.
Mm-hmm.
It is, I'll post a picture. It is a mass of beautiful pink flowers right now. And the foliage is like a darker purple, which just is the perfect back. Oh my gosh, it is just stunning right now. Stunning.
Yeah, ours are doing the same. We have the gladiator crab apple.
Oh yeah, actually I think that's what this one is a gladiator.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it's just like they're so beautiful. It's like, oh my gosh, why can't you just stay like that all the time?
Well, because there's a circle, there's a cycle.
I know,
we talk about it all the time, which is perfect because the other card that came up is also, are you ready for it? The number 18 card, living rooms. So I find it funny that we have 2 18s because the Let It Go is the 18 card from the other deck. So we got 16 and 18, a 7 and a 9. 16 is a 7. And a 9 is 16.
But if you add the other 9.
Yeah, is a 16, which is a 7.
No, 5, 2. Oh yeah, it's a 7. Okay, never mind.
It's all good.
So interesting that you said 9, like 9 has come up, the number 9.
Yep.
In my meditation this morning, the number, I had this intuitive hit to talk about the number 27.
Oh,
And how, if we are shifting the energy, because it's a new moon, right? So if we want to shift the energy in our home, and if we move 27 things around,
right.
then 2 + 7 = 9. And of course, we know that's completion. And then it starts the cycle all over again, which starts at a 0 and a 1, new beginning. So yeah, that number 9 came up twice already this morning. I had that intuitive hit
For 3, which is interesting because this week, my cousin is sent an online wedding invitation for their wedding, which is it's a 9-day. Their wedding is a 9-day. And somewhere along the lines in it, there were 3 9s. I can't remember how it all worked. Anyway, when I looked it up in double digitology, which I forgot to grab this morning, but I can, the 999 is about catalytic completion, like cycles, big cycles being completed.
Done.
And for her, it was extremely significant. So it was, it's very cool. So you're talking about that again. So here we are today talking about 3 9s coming up already. You had the 2 7, we got the 1 8, we got the 1 8, we got all of this totaling a 9 again. Do you think the sword in Let It Go can be any more significant?
Yeah.
Let that go. Let it go.
Let it go. Complete it. Complete it. It's done. Finite. New moon. Plant some new seeds. Let's go. Right?
Exactly. All right. Yeah. So let's get talking about symbols of welcome, which we started talking about with the flowers at the front entrance and what's welcoming in your world. And the other one is the living room. So what's the first thing you see when you walk into the living room? What's your symbol of welcome?
So I've been, working at the rental properties, right? And so yesterday I was over at the one and getting ready for a guest to check in last night. And just some of those subtle things, right? So for example, and this ties in so well with the symbols of welcome. So imagine, right? So you're a guest, you're coming to a Airbnb, right? It's your first time being there, whatever. And so it's those subtle little things that I wanted to hone in on and pay attention to for the guests. So for example, there's a gate, and the previous owner on the gate had this little plaque that said, no soliciting, no news, whatever that little thing was, a little plaque. No, right? Then the little latch that pulls the gate, because it's up high, so it's like a little string cord thing that you pull to open up the gate. Well, it looked like it was MacGyvered. It had black tape over it.
Right.
And again, like, does it work? Absolutely. But very 2 subtle things that the subconscious mind registers
and I want you in
not
here.
That are not symbols of welcome.
Yeah. Both of them said, we don't want you here.
That's right. And so again, it's just sometimes it's just those little tiny little subtle things that, maybe we become complacent with. So obviously the previous owner, the latch on the gate, I mean, it's functional, it does the trick, right? But again, it doesn't look very welcoming, it's not very friendly, because it has tape on it. It's like, what's going on? Is it, am I gonna break the gate? Right, there's all kinds of things that can happen in an instant in the subconscious mind.
Exactly.
And then, I looked around, the little flower bed area. There were some old cigarette butts laying around, and just the odd little dandelion poking up through the mulch, so I picked all of those up. Then I had this lawn ornament kind of thing. He's really cute, looks like a little cactus, I don't know, something. And I repositioned him and put him right at the gate, right? So then again, you're pulling up with your car. The first thing that the eye, right, where the eye goes, that's where the energy flows. Then they're going to see this little ornament that says, "Hello, how are you? Here we are," right? And then, I fixed the little latch on the gate, removed the little sign. So now, even though I didn't put any other symbols of welcome, I think this week I'm going to plant some plants. But anyways, the things that were there that were not welcoming, and I shifted them.
Yes.
So it might be, again, looking at that differently through our feng shui eyes to say, does that welcome? And if it's a not welcoming thing, what can I do to shift it? Just that subtle little thing.
I love that, Anita. And you're running a business with an Airbnb, right? So do you want people to leave good reviews? Do you want them to feel comfortable? Do you want them to be welcomed? All of those are super important, but not just for your house, for everybody, because it's the chi that we're trying to welcome in. It's the chi, the good, positive energy that we're trying to welcome in, not just into our home, but into every space in our home, into our businesses. So a friend of mine was showing me pictures. For years, she has planted and done the flower planters at this strip mall. She knows the owner of the strip mall. Well, this year, the tenants decided they didn't want to pay for plants. They were going to handle it themselves. So she showed me pictures of them. So imagine the last few years, they've been colorful and they're bright and they're beautiful, filled with plants. This year, one is completely empty. So you and I both know it's going to be used as an ashtray. One has one plant in the middle of it, this big bed, and the other one has four little, like you can't see them yet. And it's a big planter. It's probably 3 feet by 2 feet. So it's a fair size planter. And that's it. They're calling it done. So they've done something. What they don't realize is they've completely negated that the money they would have invested in having her do the planters again, that invites in and brings in all this positive chi, is now not going to work for their benefit. And odds are those planters aren't going to be cared for because there's no attention being given to it.
Right. And it's like, that's where the energy is drawn into, right? And again, when we think symbols of welcome, like you said, Cheryl, it's not just our front entrance. It's not, symbols of welcome can be in any room.
Absolutely.
A greeter when you first come in your doorway, something that says, hello, I'll be right there. I'm just in the kitchen, right? A greeter in the bathroom, right? Again, something if your guest or someone goes into the bathroom, something again that says, so every room of the house can have a symbol of welcome.
Exactly. So let's talk specifically about symbols of welcome in the living room, because often, can't speak for always, the symbol of welcome and the focal point is a TV.
Yep.
So are you inviting your guests to sit down and not converse and be entertained by something on the wall? Or are you inviting them in to have a conversation?
Yeah, and I know, like in our house, yes, TV, absolutely. That's the big thing. However, I'm not the only person that lives in the house, and
For
the
sure.
other
Yeah.
people disagree with me when it comes to the TV in the living room. If
Mhm.
it had my choice, I wouldn't have one in there at all. But anyways,
Anyway, and
yeah.
of course, there are other things to consider. I'm just saying, what is the focal point? What is the symbol of welcome in the living room? We had pictures a little while ago, and the symbols of welcome, there was no room on the couch because it was so overfilled with pillows.
Right.
That's another example.
Yeah.
Symbols of welcome, and mine right now needs a cleaning. Oh my word. I need to do some housework. But I'm torn because it's spring and I want to be outside. Housework is not my favorite thing to do. So anyway, regardless, is there room for people to sit? Is it inviting? Is it an obstacle course? Right? What is welcoming people into that space? Same
Yeah,
with,
and even just a piece of furniture, right, can be in the way that,
is it
you
back to
know,
you?
it's kind of like that stop sign. It's kind of like that little plaque on the gate that says, no solicitors, no, right?
Yeah.
Having something that's blocking the, like you say, the flow of chi in that room is just, giving that subliminal no. And that goes for the outdoor living room spaces as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're getting into the time of year when we want to spend time outside. So are you being welcomed by a gazebo that is tattered and torn and half ripped apart from over the year of use and the weather? Right? Or are you being greeted by a yard that's been ignored?
Yeah, and the weeds are, oh, well, there's another great example. I went to my son's yesterday, because he's away firefighting. And so I went to water his front flower bed. And before he went, he had 2 days off the last month here. Anyways, before he went, he mowed his lawn and everything. And his lawn is beautiful, right? It's looking great. The grass is nice and green. And then like 2 doors down, the yard is full. It's yellow. It's completely yellow with the dandelions. And it's like, how frustrating is that when you spend all this time and attention and care and fertilize, and he's got his lawn looking so great, and because of the disrepair and or disrespect of his neighbor, right, his lawn could be looking like that. And it's just, yes, it's very frustrating.
And we all still have to get along, like you said.
Oh,
He's not
yes.
the only one in the neighborhood, like you're not the only one in your house. But what can happen is when you care for your space, and we've noticed that where we live. I'm not saying people didn't care for their homes before. Please don't get me wrong. What I am saying is when one person makes an effort and the chi starts to flow in and things start to be encouraged, it has a tendency to ripple. And you'll find that other people on either side of you, then they start to care for things.
Right.
And then that's a ripple effect. So where there was garbage in the back alleys all the time, you take an effort, you take a few minutes and you clean it up. And pretty soon that garbage that used to be a consistent issue, people are becoming more conscious of it.
Yeah.
And then that becomes less of an issue. Same with the weeds and, disrepair in general. You'll see it often in a neighborhood. that needs some attention and someone does a new fence. Pretty soon,
Yeah.
people beside them get a new fence,
Mhm.
and it carries on. And we noticed that again in our back alley, like the people across us from the back alley. Once one person did a new fence, it kind of did a chain reaction all the way down the street, which is wonderful.
Well, and we've seen that in, you know, in our decluttering program too,
Absolutely.
where the spouse of our participant all of a sudden starts doing things,
Mhm.
and they go, "What?" Because they see the change, the shift in energy of cleaning out a closet or something, and then they go, "Yeah, I want to do that too."
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly.
no, definitely we can affect, you know, ripple it out.
And it
So,
starts here, it starts at home,
mhm,
right? It's not a finger pointing thing. It's a, okay, when I point, I also have 3 more coming back at me. So whatever it is,
mhm,
we're looking out and pointing at somebody else. What's actually going on in your
mhm,
world, right? So when we start looking within and looking that our environment is a reflection of what's going on inside. All right, let's see what's actually happening here. What can we start to shift and we can start to change? And I love that we're having this conversation on the cusp of a new moon, because you started
mhm.
it off right at the top with, all right, what seeds do we want to plant? Pun intended, completely, because we're in seed planting season.
Yeah, today's a great day to plant some seeds.
Perfect day for seed planting. Yeah, metaphorically as well as physically.
Yeah. Mhm.
What do you want to have happen? So instead of looking across the street at your neighbors, or, you know, looking at another room that is your spouse's or your children's, what's yours look like? Where does that come from? Right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Going back to different things that we could do for symbols of welcome in the living room. How about it being just clean and
Mm.
inviting and welcoming?
And move those things around. And Kathy is asking, you know, when is it too much? Like too much decor, too much knickknacks, right? So again, I would say it's too much when those items are not well cared for. Because you
Mhm.
can have a lot of stuff. You can have a lot of stuff everywhere in every room, and even, you know, outside on your, you know, and we see that. We see a lot of people have lots of chi enhancers at their front entrance. And when it become when it's too much is when they're not well cared for, right? When they're not well maintained, then that's a signal that says, hey, that's too much. I don't have the time or the desire
Yeah. When it becomes a
to
chore.
yeah, exactly, right, to care for those things. So yeah, that's when it becomes too much. Mhm.
And when you're surrounding yourself with things, we go back to the original, what we teach. Surround yourself with the things you love.
Mhm.
Often we've bought stuff as a distraction. It's easy to go out and we self-soothe with retail therapy,
Mhm.
right? And it's even marketed to us. Oh, go have some retail therapy. Well, you're not actually retail therapy. You're creating a problem that's going to magnify it down the
Yep.
road. So if you're surrounding yourself with a bunch of stuff, make sure it's stuff that absolutely fills you with joy. You're biting. I can see it, Anita. What do you want to say?
Oh no, I was just thinking, um, you know what, I sent you a picture of a symbol of welcome this week. And I thought, oh, that's so cool that it kind of ties into this. Remember?
Off the top of my head, no.
Oh, the little dragonfly thing.
Oh yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I'll share a picture of it on here because I thought it was so cool. But
It
anyways,
is. It's a reuse. It's someone got very creative,
yeah.
and it's a
Mhm.
reuse of the products. And yeah, it's very cool. It is very cool.
Yeah.
So Yeah, you
Anyways,
sent me
I'll
several
share that.
pictures, so I was trying to remember which one, but yeah, that
Mhm.
is, I quite like it. But yeah, when it becomes too much, only you can judge that. And what
Mhm.
is the quality of that stuff?
Mhm.
Because if every time you go to clean up, one of the reasons, I'm going to digress here, one of the reasons I don't have a lot of stuff on my counters is growing up, we had a very small kitchen. And when my older siblings did the baking and the cooking, I was usually on cleanup duty. And I had to move the canister set, and I had to move the mix master, and I had to move everything off the counters to get all the flour off and then put it back. So to me, that was just a constant annoyance. If I want to wipe the counters clean, I want to just wipe the counters. I don't want to have to clean everything in the area every time.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's my personal preference and my story. Everybody has their own stories.
Mhm.
But great question.
Mhm. So yeah, we could move 27 things around today. Maybe there would be an opportunity presented to let something go, right?
Let it
And
go.
keeping in mind symbols of welcome and in that space. I think that's yeah, of course it always just ties in. It's always exactly the way it's supposed to be. And so do you want to talk about the number 7? Did you get your
I
book?
didn't, but I will grab it. Absolutely.
Okay. Good morning, Connie. Connie. Symbols of welcome. I know we talked about symbols of welcome last year for Connie at her house. I stopped by to pick up some Young Living oils, and we talked about a tree that was kind of like almost,
Blocking.
almost in your face when you came to the front door, and it grew so fast. And I think she actually even came over and got the tree hedger and trimmed it. But
Oh, good for
anyway,
her.
that
So
just reminded me of that. Okay.
referring to the double digitology book, number 7, which one thing I like about this is they always talk about the shape of the book, they being Adironda, right? So, and this is a 7-year, by the way, 2023, all told, number 7.
Mhm.
And in the double digitology book, she talks about it somewhat unstable, like the 4. It has a weak foundation, yes, yet it is also top heavy. It is a bit asymmetrical with the lack of a foundation and searching for new energies. The 7 represents a powerful cycle of time that is coming to or leaving perfection, depending upon what's happening in one's life. Well, we were talking about the new moon. So coming to. For this year, and it's not in this book, Adironda talks about the 7 being a springboard of what you want in the future. So imagine the 7 and this new moon and planting seeds. What seeds do you want to have happening in the future? Because today, these numbers, it's a springboard of what you're planting. It's a springboard of what your future looks like. So what are you willing to let go of? I still find this fascinating. And what are you wanting to plant that's going to spring you forward?
Yeah, so planting seeds physically in the ground, planting intentional seeds, journaling, meditation, any of those things, new beginnings. The energy is there to support us for all of that right now in
Absolutely.
the next few days.
Absolutely. Any questions or comments that we need to address in the
Nope,
there?
there is not.
Excellent. Wow. Thank you so much. Hopefully today inspired you to take a peek at the symbols of welcome into your home, into your office, into all your rooms, into your house, especially into your areas where you and your friends and your family spend time. Final parting words, my friend Anita.
Well, if you're in Canada, have an amazing Victoria Day, May long weekend. It looks like it's going to be nice. So the smoke is clearing in some areas. Get out there, connect with Mother Earth, plant some seeds in the garden or the garden of your mind.
Oh, love that. Garden of your mind, in the quantum garden. Perfect. You can watch all our past episodes on our YouTube channel, All in Alignment. Of course, we're always on here every Friday morning, have been for over 2 years. Have a wonderful week, everybody. I know, right? You just shake your head and think, what seeds did we plant 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Have
Okay,
a great week.
everyone. See you
Bye-bye.
next week.